So originally, I wasn't open to it. My thought process, I was one of the people that every time the pastor got up and said anything about money, I shut down. All you want is my money. That's all I was, that's all I was hearing. So I wasn't open to it at all. 4 or 5 years ago now, Pastor Tim did a series about tithing and money. And initially, that's my thought process. I went, oh, here we go. He just wants my money. But one thing in particular stuck out to me during one of his messages. He actually opened it up, and I can't think of the scripture from the top of my head, but he said, this is one of the only places where God says, test me. And so he said, I challenge any of you to do this. If you're doubting, test God. And so I know this isn't the right mindset to start off with, but I thought, you know what, I'm going to show you. I'm going to tithe, and I'm going to prove to you that you're wrong. That next Sunday, we sat down before we left to come to church, and I wrote out that tithe check. And I said, all right, here we go. So we tithe that Sunday. The next day, I'm at work, and my boss calls me, and he says, hey, I need to talk to you. Do you have a minute? Sure. So we're video conferencing on the computer, and he says, the state director just called and said that they've noticed what you've been doing. I'm like, what? Okay. And he said, she just told me to send you $1,000 bonus. What? Like, why? Just, she noticed you're doing a good job. Anytime we ask you to do something extra, you don't gripe and complain about it. And what in particular sticks out in that situation is how he said, you're always faithful in what you say you're going to do. And when he said that, I broke down and I started crying. He said, what's going on? And I told him, I said, you have no idea, like what just happened. And so, but that, for me, I was like, okay. Afterwards, I started thinking about it. I'm like, it's a fluke. It's a fluke. Like this, there's no way. So Angie continued to, every week, are you going to tithe? Are you going to tithe off of our income? Yes. And so initially I started off with the net. I was like, I'm not going to do all of it. I'm just only going to, this little bit. And everybody that I was talking to was saying, no, you have to do it off the gross. Like what you make before the government gets their cut, you give God His. And again, I was fighting it, and so we've been tithing regularly, and then like life happens. A big event happened, and Angie had a wreck. And so I'm thinking, oh no, what are we going to do? Like, this is, we can't lose the car. We can't handle this. And so the thought crossed my mind, just stop tithing. We can use that money for what we need it for. But at that point, I think my heart had started to change, and I was like, maybe there is something to this. And so we prayed about it, and I said, you know what, we're gonna keep tithing. So they totaled her car. They paid out for the car, and she had gotten injured in the wreck as well. And so we were negotiating that. And so I've, being in the insurance side of things, I sent over an offer what I thought was fair for us. And the insurance lady calls me and she goes, "We're not gonna go with that." And I'm thinking, oh, we're about to fight over this. So she comes back and offers $2,000 more than what we asked for. What insurance company does that? None. And so I'm like, all right, I know you're up to something, God. Like this is I'm just gonna leave it up to you. So we start looking for a car, and the exact amount that we had from everything, the car and her injury settlement, was enough to pay cash for the van that we're driving now. Anybody that's on the fence or questioning it, I would challenge them to do it. I would say that take that step of faith. I mean, you can't outgive God. I can attest to that. Every time that we've stepped out and done something out in faith, there's always more coming